A wonderful afternoon and welcome to the World News on Honor 103.5 FM. First, the headlines. Senate reconvenes today as Electoral Act triggers widespread criticism. United States and United Kingdom slam Hong Kong's Jim Lai sentencing. And business, fuel price to drop nationwide as imported petrol price undercuts Dangote refineries rates. And then sports, Eric Shelley names 3 Super Eagles players that impressed him during Africa Cup of Nations. Now the news in details. I am Richard Ekpo. We begin with reports that the Senate will hold an emergency plenary session today amid nationwide outrage over its handling of amendments to the Electoral Act, particularly a controversial removal of the clause mandating real-time electronic transmission of election results. The extraordinary sitting, called less than a week after the passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026, comes as pressure intensifies from civil society groups, opposition leaders, labor union, professional bodies, regional authorities, and a growing youth movement protesting at the National Assembly. Senate President Ekpo is expected to preside over the session, which will be attended by the remaining 105 senators following recent death and an ambassadorial appointment that reduced the upper chamber from 109 members. A former governor of Rivers State, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, has today joined a protest at the National Assembly in Abuja to demand the approval of real-time electronic transmission of elections results in future elections. The protesters called on lawmakers to adopt mandatory electronic transmission of results from polling units as part of the Electoral Amendment Bill, chanting and displaying placards in support of electoral transparency and credibility. Security operatives, including personnel of the Nigeria Police Force and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, were deployed around the National Assembly complex with patrol vans stationed at strategic points to maintain law and order. A tense confrontation briefly occurred between the former governor and police officers during the protest, but order was maintained by the security personnel on site. And on the foreign scene, here in Africa, Somalia has signed a military cooperation deal with Saudi Arabia in Riyadh, weeks after a similar agreement with Qatar, as Mogadishu seeks stronger regional backing amid rising tension linked to Israel's recognition of Somaliland. The Memorandum of Understanding, which was signed between Somali Minister of Defense Ahmed Mualim Figi and his Saudi counterpart Prince Khalid bin Salman bin Abdulaziz in Riyadh, aims to boost military ties, training and security cooperation with Somalia, warning that Israel may plan to set up a military base in Somaliland. The agreement comes as Somalia cuts defense and security ties with the United Arab Emirates over alleged actions against its unity, against a backdrop of wider Gulf tensions and conflicts involving Yemen and Sudan. And away from Africa, almost a year after the State Department began shutting down United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and later absorbed what remained of the agency, a President Trump administration launched an $11 billion foreign health plan aimed at keeping U.S. influence strong abroad, especially in Africa, while protecting Americans from disease. The move has raised questions because many Americans support humanitarian aid, and experts say hundreds of thousands may have died after aid was cut, even as critics urge that USAID's system relied too much on NGOs and sidelined local governments and businesses. Under the new American First Global Health Strategy, The Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, Jeremy Lewin, said that the goal is to help countries stand on their own by working more with local system and the private sector rather than repeating the old USAID model. Still under foreign sin, United States has described the Hong Kong High Court's decision to jail pro-democracy activist and media owner Jimmy Lai for 20 years as unjust and tragic, saying it shows Beijing's determination to silence voice calling for basic freedoms in the territory. The United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio and British officials said the case violated international promises made to protect Hong Kong's freedom, with the UK calling the prosecution politically driven and warning that the sentence given Lai's age and health is like a life term. China welcomed the ruling, branding Lai the main force behind unrest in Hong Kong, and insisted the conviction was lawful while warning other countries not to interfere in what it called its internal affairs. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the World News from Honor 103.5 FM. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Honor 103.5 FM and listen to us live on Radio Guardian at Honor FM Ibadan. We'll be back after this break for business, entertainment, and sports. To stay tuned.
Honor 103.5 FM. Music.
The generator carry feelings for we them up.
Sport. Education, culture, impacts, information, varieties, business, entertainment. We have you covered on 103.5 FM.
This is the news on Honor 103.5 FM. Honor FM News. Accurate, transparent, undiluted. We go deep. We bring you the news behind the news. Honor FM News. If it's new, then it's news.
You're welcome back. Glad to have you join us. This is the Gold from Honor 103.5 FM. Let's now hit the business desk, where petroleum products marketers have said that fuel prices may drop across Nigeria in the coming days as the cost of imported petrol has fallen below the Dangote refinery gantry price, creating room for price cuts at filling stations. The president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Abubakar Megandi, said this follows data showing imported petrol is about 77 naira cheaper per litre than Dangote fuel, with some Lagos stations already selling as low as 817 naira per litre compared to higher prices in Abuja due to transport cost. Alhaji Megandi explained that discounts offered by Dangote refinery for bulk purchases increase competition from imports and future refineries, and reduced logistic pressure could lead to a wider nationwide drop in pump prices if the right conditions are maintained. In entertainment, maverick singer Charlie Oputa, popularly known as Charlie Boy, has criticized Nigerian Christian clerics, claiming that 99% of them are more interested in making profits from their churches than speaking truth to power. Featuring in a recent episode of the KA Truth broadcast, the area father Krona slammed some Nigerian pastors over their complicit silence in the face of economic and security challenges confronting the nation. He accused the clerics of working with contempt politicians to exploit the masses. Taliban emphasized that despite residing in Nigeria, he doesn't think or behave like most Nigerians and would not fall for the sanctimonious antics of some Nigerian pastors. In the exciting world of sports, Super Eagles coach Eric Shelley has named Calvin Bassey, Bruno Onyemaechi, and Bright Osai Samuel as the standout player for Nigeria in the Africa Cup of Nations semi-final defeat to host Morocco, which ended in a penalty shootout loss after a goalless 120 minutes. Nigeria struggled in attack and managed only 2 shots in the entire match, with goalkeeper Yassine Bono emerging as a hero for Morocco by saving penalties from Bruno Onyemaechi and Samuel Chukwueze, while Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman were largely isolated up front due to midfield difficulties. Speaking during an interview, Chelle praised the defensive efforts of his team in a hostile atmosphere, highlighting Bassi's central role and the strong performance of Yemechi and Osai Samuel, with Bassi later earning a place in the official team of the tournament alongside Osimhen and Lookman. With that sports report, we end the world news. Before we go, here's a recap of the main highlights. A Russia reports from the national scene that the Senate will reconvene today as the Electoral Act triggers widespread criticism. On the foreign scene, United States and United Kingdom have slammed Hong Kong's Jimmy Lai sentencing. And business fuel price to drop nationwide as imported petrol price undercuts Dangote refinery. And in sports, Eric Shelley has named 3 Super Eagles players that impressed him during Africa Cup of Nations. That's it on the world news on Honor 103.5 FM Ibadan. For eyewitness reports, news expansion, and news commercial, contact Honor FM Newsroom on 0817-675-5555 or 0913-600-1035 or send an email to honorfm23@gmail.com. You can also visit our website www.honorfm1035.net for more information. The news was compiled and edited by Oluwatobi Ojumo. I am Richard Ekpo. Thank you for listening.